You know that feeling? The alarm goes off, you grab your phone, and before your feet even hit the floor, that cold screen light just floods your room with urgency. You're hit with emails, notifications, news. You haven't even left your bed, but your body already thinks the hunt is on. Something just feels wrong.
It's that stiffness in your back, that low-grade anxiety humming in the background, that insane craving for sugar in the afternoon, the restless nights. I mean, if you've ever felt like you're just struggling to keep up with it all, you are so not alone. And here's the key. It's not a personal failure. It's something way, way older.
Okay, let's just sit with this for a second, because this quote really hits the nail on the head. Our bodies, our brains, our every instinct, they were all forged in a world of trees and dirt and scarcity. But here we are trying to navigate a world of concrete, screens, and just endless everything. We're basically running Stone Age software on brand new digital age hardware. And that friction, that conflict, it actually has a name: evolutionary mismatch. It's this fundamental clash between the animal that we are and the environment that we've created. And this isn't just some abstract theory, It's an incredibly powerful lens for understanding why so many of us feel kind of unwell in a world that's supposed to be better than ever. I mean, this timeline really puts it all into perspective. It's kind of wild. For over 99% of human history, we were hunter-gatherers. This world that we live in now, with cities and offices and smartphones, is just a tiny, tiny sliver at the very, very end of our evolutionary story. Our biology just hasn't had time to catch up. So let's look at 3 key areas where this mismatch really messes with us. All right, first up, our diet. Our relationship with food is probably one of the most powerful and obvious examples of this mismatch, where our ancient survival wiring is now working directly against us. For our ancestors, getting a craving for sugar or fat was literally a life-saving instinct. It meant they found a rare, super high-calorie food that could get them through the next famine. But today, that same instinct gets triggered a dozen times a day by food that has been scientifically engineered to hit what food scientists call the bliss point. It's that perfect, irresistible combo of sugar, fat, and salt that just keeps you coming back for more. So, here's the crucial thing that's happening inside our bodies. Our metabolism is still running on a famine prevention program. Every time we eat, especially processed stuff, our body releases insulin and basically screams, "Store this energy. Famine could be right around the corner." But in our world, the famine never comes. There's only another snack. This keeps our bodies in a state of permanent storage mode, which is the root cause of so many of our modern metabolic problems. So how do we fix this? Well, the answer isn't to start eating like a caveman. It's about learning to speak a language our biology actually understands. Favoring foods that look like themselves, that works because our genes know how to process food from nature, not a lab. Respecting the rhythm of fasting mimics those old cycles of scarcity, which allows our bodies to switch from storage mode to repair mode. And eating socially, that turns a meal back into what it was for millennia, a communal act that naturally slows us down and helps us digest better. Okay, let's move on to our second area of mismatch, and you'll see how this builds. It's our relationship with movement, or maybe more accurately, our complete lack of it. We've built ourselves what is, paradoxically, a very, very comfortable cage. You see, our ancestors didn't exercise. They just lived. Their whole lives were a constant flow of walking, squatting, lifting, and carrying. Movement wasn't something you had to schedule. It was just the price of survival. But now, stillness is our default. We had to invent this bizarre concept called exercise to make up for the fact that we've completely engineered movement out of our daily lives. And the scale of this problem is just staggering. Look at this number, over 10 hours a day. That's more time than most of us spend sleeping. Our bodies, which are these absolute masterpieces of motion, are being asked to spend most of their waking hours in one single static position. The consequences are, as you can imagine, enormous. And here's the kicker. This is why so many of us struggle to stick with an exercise routine. Our brains evolved to connect movement with purpose. You walk to find water. You climb a hill to get a better view. You lift something to build a shelter. So when we go to a gym to walk on a machine that goes nowhere, our ancient brain can feel the emptiness of that. It feels pointless. So the solution isn't just about more gym time. It's about redesigning our lives for more natural motion. Moving with a purpose, like walking to a destination, that satisfies our brain's ancient reward system. Reclaiming the ground by just sitting on the floor sometimes restores the natural mobility in our hips that chairs had basically stolen from us.
This isn't just about calories. It's about making rest feel earned and sacred again, a real reward for a body that has actually moved.
And that brings us to our third and maybe the most profound mismatch of all, the one happening inside our minds, inside our social lives. For nearly all of our history, we lived in these small, stable tribes of about 150 people. In that world, social connection wasn't a nice to have. It was your entire survival toolkit. But now we have thousands of friends online, and our poor brains, which are wired for deep, tangible, face-to-face connection, are just struggling to process this giant, abstract network. And this creates the great social paradox of our time. As you can see, our digital connectivity is through the roof, but our sense of actual, meaningful connection has just plummeted. We are the most connected, and yet the loneliest generation in human history. And the symptoms are all too familiar, right? That chronic loneliness, even when you're surrounded by people, the anxiety from constant social comparison, a mind that has completely fragmented attention from being pulled in a million directions. We are asking a tribal brain to navigate a global digital village, and frankly, it is exhausting. So the way forward here is all about being intentional. Curating your digital tribe is like deciding who you let into your cave. It protects your mind from that constant threat detection mode that outrage algorithms love, and practicing real tribal activities, sharing food, moving together, building something. Those things work because they generate oxytocin, activating these deep, ancient circuits of trust and belonging that a like button just can't even begin to touch. So after all this, it's pretty easy to feel like our modern world is the enemy. But that's really not the takeaway here. Understanding evolutionary mismatch isn't about blaming the present or romanticizing the past. It's about using this knowledge as a map, a guide to navigate our world a whole lot better. And I really want you to hear this powerful idea. If you feel tired or anxious or unwell, you are not broken. Your cravings, your restlessness, your feelings of loneliness, they are not signs of personal weakness. They are the perfectly logical responses of a perfectly adapted organism that's just living in a profoundly abnormal environment. The goal is not to go live in a cave. It's to practice a kind of personal rewilding. It's about consciously and intentionally reintroducing the things our ancient biology expects: real food, natural movement, deep connection, and true earned rest. And this table sums it all up perfectly. Once you have this map, you can start translating your feelings. That afternoon slump isn't laziness, it's your body screaming for movement and sunlight. That sugar craving is an echo of famine prep. That loneliness is a deep biological need for real human contact. The mismatch becomes your guide to a better aligned life. At the end of the day, we can't turn back the clock, but we don't have to. The real challenge and the real opportunity is to stop fighting our biology and start working with it. So the final question isn't how we escape modernity. It's how will you choose to bring a little of that essential wildness back into your own life starting today?